Before we begin learning about the volume of pyramids and cones, make sure you either have this page printed out or you have the digital copy open on your screen. First, let's review how to find volume of prisms. To find the volume of a prism, you multiply the area of the base by the height of the prism. That formula can be written as V equals capital B times H, where that capital B represents the area of your base. So believe it or not, the volume of a pyramid will always be 1/3 of the volume of a prism with the same base and the same height. So to find the volume of a pyramid, we're still going to multiply the area of the base by the height of the pyramid. We just have to do that extra step of then dividing by 3. So this formula, you can write it a couple different ways, but the way I like to write it is V equals capital B times H, all divided by 3. So let's work through some examples. We have 3 different pyramids and cones, and to calculate the volume, we're first going to find the area of the base, then multiply that by the height, and finally divide by 3. Don't forget this new step of dividing by 3 at the end. So let's start with a review of a square pyramid. Its base is a square, which you can either say the area is length times width, or since a square, every side is the same, we can write that as side squared. So first, I'm going to start by finding the area of that square base. So here I can see that the side length of my square is 6, which means the area for that would come from 6 squared, or 6 times 6. Either way, that gives me an area of 36 for my base. I'm then going to multiply that by that vertical height of my pyramid, which here is 5. So my volume would come from doing 36 times 5, and then that last step of dividing by 3. So let's see what we get. That gives us a final volume of 60, and again, units for volume are cubed. So next, let's talk about cones. Cones are circular pyramids, so its base is a circle. The area of a circle comes from pi r squared. So in this first cone, I'm given the radius of 9. So to find the area of that circle, I'm going to be doing pi times 9 squared. I'm going to be using 3.14 for pi. So 3.14 times 9 squared gets me an area of 254.34 for that circle. Its height is 15. So to find the total volume of that cone, I'm going to be taking my 254.34, multiplying by 15, and dividing all of that by 3. So I get a final volume of 1,271.7. There's no units on this, so if I wanted to, I could write just cubic units. Okay, next up, we still have a cone, but this time we're given the diameter. Remember, area is always pi r squared. So in this instance, if you're given a diameter, you're going to want to find the radius first, and the radius is half of that. So if I take my 11 and divide it by 2, that tells me that the radius that I want is 5.5. So that's what I'm going to be using to first find the area of that base. So I'm going to be taking pi times 5.5 squared. And that gives me 94.985. I'll go ahead and just keep all 3 of those decimals. The height of this particular cone is 12, so my volume is going to come from 94.985 times 12, and then divided by 3. And that gives me a final volume of 379.94. And again, I'm just going to write units cubed. So no matter what shape your base is, you're first going to start by finding the area of that base. Then multiply it by the height, and finally divide by 3.